Good morning. This is Rick Renner, and I want to thank you for joining me for Think About It. And today I want to continue in Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 14, where Paul says, "Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth," that's what we talked about yesterday, "and having on the breastplate of righteousness." Today I want to talk to you about what is the breastplate of righteousness. A Roman soldier wore a breastplate. It was the most glorious piece of weaponry that he wore. It was made of two pieces, a piece that went down the front and a piece that went down the back. By the way, I talk about this explicitly in my book, Dressed to Kill. On the top, it was connected by big solid brass rings. So it was like two pieces of weaponry, one that went across the front, one that went across the back, and if they weren't somehow tied together, they would just flap as you ran or as you walked. They were beautiful. Also, mostly, they looked like the scales of a fish. They were little pieces of metal which were all woven together very tightly like the scales of a fish. And this was important because the more you walked in them, the more the metal would move against each other and would add luster to every single piece of the metal, each scale becoming more shiny and shiny. So the longer they walked in their breastplate, the more glorious their breastplate began to be. And this is a lot the way that righteousness is. When you begin to walk in your righteousness, it becomes glorious. And the longer that you enjoy your righteousness, the more beautiful your righteousness becomes. I'm talking about that righteousness that you didn't deserve but was given to you by the grace of Jesus Christ. But here's what you need to understand. You're covered with righteousness on the front and on the back. Righteousness belongs to you. But the only way you will keep your sense of righteousness, keep it all pulled together, is if you have on your loin belt. The loin belt, which is truth or the Word of God. This is the loin belt which wrapped around the breastplate and held it all together. And when you get out of the Word of God, even though you're declared righteous, it won't be long until you begin to lose your sense of righteousness, and you'll become open to the attack of the enemy. Now, the breastplate was very important because it protected the vital organs. It protected the heart. It protected all those vital organs which are essential for you to live. And in the same way, in order for you to live as a successful Christian, righteousness, a sense of righteousness, being dressed in righteousness is really essential. It is essential for your spiritual life. And God has given you a breastplate of righteousness. And I think that's something for you to think about today.